Now, I am here today introducing two lovely guests and friends to my channel for the first time. And I was going to say that it's freezing cold in the UK. It's very heavy frost, but you're in Norway, so I've got to stop moaning. I've got my fire going. I've got the dogs listening, and they are participating in this. So for everyone listening, these are my friends, Kat and Malcolm, and they are the founders of an amazing conscious technology company called Orynoco. And I just want to tell you a little bit about how I met Kat and Malcolm before we really dive into the sighting. So we have got a mutual friend. I had my hearing aid mended, and the little bit they do it keeps popping out. So I'm not wired like James Bond. So one of my friends who I've been friends with for years, called Helen King, who is basically, she's a bioenergetics practitioner, and she is quite frankly the best healing lady I've ever met. You know, Helen works with humans and animals, and what she doesn't know about energy healing is a lot. So I've been friends with Helen for ages, and Helen introduced me to your technology, the amazing pod, which we're going to come on to. And from them, we all got chatting, and we've had a few matrix parties where we've all got together with Malcolm and Kat and a lovely, lovely lady called Jackie and Helen and I. And we've had such good fun, haven't we, watching the Matrix?
Yeah,
we have. And just exchanging conspiracy theories, which we all know are not conspiracy theories. But what I love about your stuff is so much. So we're going to give the viewers a real treat today, because you've got lots of different tools in your toolkit suitable for every person, every situation, every animal, every budget. So before we dive deep, let's start with you, Kat. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you and Malcolm came to form Orynoco.
Okay, so I basically went through the journey myself. I ended up having PTSD after a string of assaults, so I had to go through a massive healing journey. And basically, I trained in everything that helped and supported me. So my energetic journey has been huge. I've always been very sensitive. I used to work with animals because I found people were too harsh, so I worked with horses, spent a lot of time with horses when I was younger. And yeah, so that's basically the start of my energetic journey. And then yeah, I'll let Malcolm explain how Orynoco formed, but I met Malcolm at a Tibetan pulsing workshop, so we met in that whole world of energy, and then our relationship developed as a couple. And then we ended up forming Orynoco, and that actually started in the cabin that we are here in Norway. So for us, this is really such a special moment and such a special interview, because in some way we've come full circle, because when we first started researching this technology years ago in this cabin, because it was pouring down with rain, it was horrendous weather, we never anticipated that we'd even have a company. You know, it just happened, all the synchronicities and everything lined up, and yeah, we just followed our guidance, and now we're doing what we're doing.
And I'm so pleased you have, because you know I'm not easily impressed in some respect. I'm open to absolutely anything. I'm, well, within reason. We won't get to dodgy things there. On the healing side of things, I'm open to everything, but I'm gonna tell the viewers about my experiences later. I am blown away with this, and it's taken me to a different level that, you know, is different to anything I've experienced before. I don't know, Malcolm, before you introduce yourself, is it possible to turn your computer on?
Yeah.
Your view of where you are, because this is, you know, energy and why you get the inspiration from certain places. Look at that on the Norwegian coast, absolutely stunning.
So we're in a little bay, and the fishing boats go out from that harbour. I think you can see over there.
Yeah, absolutely stunning.
We're right on the rocks, and these rocks are they've actually got crystal running through them. So at certain times you can come here, and after you've been on a long journey, walk into the cabin, and you actually feel as though you're still at sea, because the energy is so powerful. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's very exciting if you're arguing, because everything gets amplified.
I think we should have the third Matrix party over at your house there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, that would be amazing.
I've never been to Norway, but one of my friends, well, two of my friends actually have got the most beautiful Norwegian fjord ponies. And oh my goodness, they are such characters. They're stunning. Unfortunately, one's no longer with us. But anyway, I digress. Malcolm, we mustn't leave you out of this. Can you tell everyone?
I mean, I started life as a chartered building surveyor, so about as far removed from energy work as you can get. But then, and I was married and jogging on through life. My wife got cancer, and sadly, she died in 2009. And I came to the realization that, you know, something's not right in this world. Woke up very quickly over a period of 9 months, thanks to my very understanding business partner. He was amazing, and I was able to have some time off to help my wife. But at the same time, what was actually happening was I was doing masses of research into everything, and of course came across the fact that quantum physics exists as a broad title for everything you can see, everything you can't see. It's like the umbrella term for everything you can't see. And coincidentally, my cousin is one of the world's top quantum physicists, but I hadn't made the connection at the time. And he actually went and worked at CERN for a little while before he moved to the States. He's now quite a big noise in the States there. So yeah, as I started researching, I thought, wow, this is getting really, really interesting. And obviously I was trying to use that information to try and help my wife. But sadly, she died 9 months later. She was the doctors actually gave her 3 months, but she died 9 months later. And then I went off on my journey. So I had to go and do the stuff, do my journey. So during that process, then I started doing Tibetan pulsing healing. And it took me about 2 or 3 years really to start working out the most of it. During that time, I'd met Kat, and then we went on to do some traveling, and then we came back to Ibiza to use it as a little base, having heard about Mr. Kesh and his plasma science, and we ended up with a fantastic villa, which was a rental villa. But it had a swimming pool, and what we wanted to do really was to get up in the morning, go and swim without having the chlorine problem. And so I said, well, let's see if we can make the pool using Mr. Kesh's plasma science into a chlorine-free pool. And of course, that was really where we started practically researching it. When we came over one summer to this cabin, it poured with rain for 3 weeks, and we just sat here and watched Mr. Kesh's videos for 3 weeks, which is very mind expanding, I can tell you.
And quite hard work.
Quite hard work, but the information is there, and once you've done the hard work bit, you can actually start making your own TSC. It's not hard. That's the point. But what you have to
TSC?
do,
Just explain.
that is transitional state elements. That's what we have in the little vials here. Okay, so what you have to do in order to really understand what you're doing is you have to swivel your head around 180 degrees. Everything that you've been taught as far as science in the physical is concerned, you have to then start looking at the whole thing in the energetic form. And really, that's, if you take the big picture now, that's where we are, because we've been in the age of Pisces, we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is the age of enlightenment. Where does the light come from? The light comes from the sun. What comes out of the sun? Photons come out of the sun. What is it that drives our reality? It's the information in the photons. And that's what's in these, information from the quantum field. So quantum physics can be looked at as, oh my God, what am I doing? What is this all about? But in fact, it's just a big umbrella term. And under that are various aspects of quantum. So it could be Tesla, it could be scalar waves, it could be photonic stuff, it could be electrics, could be computers, whatever you like. So it's just a big umbrella term. So don't get tied up when you hear the word quantum. Treat it as an invitation. this is quantum physics, folks. Let's investigate. It's all exciting stuff. Let's go.
It's amazing. It's amazing stuff. And I just wanted to say that you know, there's been so much sort of slagging off of education recently, and I have to put my hand up and sort of say I've been really lucky at that stage, because when I was at university, we had some amazing lecturers who would talk about all sorts of things. And then when I went into work, and we'll come on to this because Malcolm and I have got sort of telecoms experience in common, I did a master's in business administration when I was working for Nokia. And it was doing that MBA that introduced me properly to quantum physics, which you wouldn't normally make the connection. But we had the most amazing group. And that's when I found about the Institute of Noetic Sciences. And this was back, well, it was just before I had my son, and my son's 23 now. So it's a long while ago. Went through my whole MBA and had both my children in the process and working full time. But this is what I mean, is these synchronicities come from the most surprising thoughts, because no one would associate, you know, people. I've been, you know, a little bit triggered because my education experiences have opened me up to things that are so outside the book of what I thought I was going in to study. And there was this one weekend where we went in for a weekend for our masters, and we got all into quantum physics, and it was just absolutely fantastic. And that opened up a whole different doorway that I wasn't aware of before, and off I went down that journey and haven't stopped since. So these synchronicities that you're talking about, it's so important that people realize to take those chances when they come.
Absolutely, because
can I just before we move any further, now that we've been talking about education and the quantum field,
do we do that in a minute? I just wanted to say for people, so yeah, when you're talking about Nokia, as a chartered building surveyor, I was actually out looking at how to build the actual masts for mobile phones, and that was actually, as you say, the synchronicities. I used to spend time on site, and I was hanging around. I just got chatting to a telecoms engineer. Then we started talking about frequencies. How does that work? How is it that suddenly there's this explosion in mobile phones? Oh, it's because we're reusing the frequencies. Oh, how does that work? And then we used to go for a beer, and you know, et cetera, and then it evolved from there. So that was my introduction to the understanding. The start of my understanding of what frequencies are, what they do, how much information you can pack into them, and what that's all about. Which obviously now with quantum is using the same information but packing it into a photon instead of packing it into a radio wave. So that's the parallel, really. So yeah, that's very interesting.
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't actually realize that all this stuff is part of our everyday life. You know, like frequencies and energies has become this sort of world very much removed from our day-to-day lives. But actually everything is run on frequencies, sound, you know, electricity. Our bodies are actually, you know, electric. We have got charges, our cells have got charges, you know, we've got electricity and energy running through our body all the time. So all these sort of areas that people now kind of, you know, move off as alternative, like Malcolm was saying, you know, it's part of our mobile phone system, it's part of everything that we do in everyday life. People just like to categorize things and make them different when it's all part and parcel of life.
Yeah. So before we go any further, because honestly, we could have a Right, we've just had a really weird thing where my whole internet and computer blew when we were talking about all this. So who knows what the spooky things are for that. So we're trying on Wi-Fi and we're hoping we don't lose you. So hopefully I'll be able to cut these together. Back with Kat and Malcolm, very, very spooky when we were talking about all that. And then my whole life, it's never happened before. So Kat, this could be a perfect time for you to do a meditation with us and clear some of this energy.
Yes, so lovely. And also it's to connect all your viewers to the energy of the land here, because it's very particular. I think that when people are meeting together, it doesn't matter whether you're, you know, in person or not, then all your energies become connected. So it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for transformation. It's an opportunity for gathering, and it's an opportunity to energetically involve. So if you're not used to meditating, or this isn't your thing, then just see it as a few minutes of a game. You know, we're just going to take a journey into the imagination. So everybody just close your eyes and just take a deep breath in and breathe out with a sigh. Take another deep breath in and again breathe out with a sigh. Once more. And then just pulling all your energies into the area of your seat bones, to the area of your coccyx. Just feel your body grounding down into this area, through your legs, down through the bottoms of your feet, just of your feet, deep down into the center of the earth, past all the tectonic plates, the worms, the crystal caves. Just allow your energy to move down, down, down into the center of the earth. And then just giving thanks to the earth. Everything that we have is created from her. Our bodies, the clothes that we're wearing, the food that we eat, the air that we breathe. Just giving thanks for her support for our everyday life. And sending love. And then allowing this energy to move back up through the soles of your feet, through your legs, through your coccyx, up your spine, through your neck, your head, and out the top of your head as your energy reaches up towards the sun, the grand central sun, into the heavens, the stars, the planets, all that is not of the earth. Allow your energies to expand. And then giving thanks for the father aspect, for the giver of life. The sun nourishes us, allows growth on this planet. The influences of all the planetary bodies, of all the stars, of our star brothers and sisters, affect us every day, giving thanks to all our guides. To the unseen aspect of life, we give thanks for their support. And then allowing the energy to come back down through the top of your head, down through your neck, and into your heart, where these energies mix and mingle. For we are a conduit between the energies of the earth and the sky, the sun. Allowing these energies to transform through our bodies, we connect deeply into our heart. Giving thanks for yourself, giving thanks for everything that has happened in your life that has brought you to this journey, to this place that we're sitting now, good and bad, for good and bad belong in a world of polarity and are actually the same, just different sides of a coin. As we come into this space of the heart where there is no polarity, where everything just is. And for this we give thanks. And then from this space of unity, we ask for all transformation for the highest good of all to take place as we are together on this call. We ask for all energies that can be shifted for this highest good of all are shifted from a heart space connection, so that we all may feel the love that we are, were, ever have been, and ever will be, as we are together on this journey, on this call, learning and growing. And we ask this for the highest good of all. And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Kat. That was absolutely wonderful. I hope my computers enjoyed the clearing of that energy as well. So it's really weird. It's never happened before.
I should have sent it down the files.
Yeah, I think we're cutting in and out a bit. I am, but fingers crossed. So can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay, lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I would like you to start off with is please start off and tell us about what the Orynoco products are and how they work.
Okay. So basically what we're doing, as we said earlier, everything comes from the sun under the quantum physics banner. This particular technology is an aspect of quantum physics. There's lots and lots of others, but this is one particular aspect, and it's called plasma science. And it's a bit unfortunate that the Mr. Kesh gave it the word plasma because obviously everybody thinks about plasma as plasma of blood, plasma electrical balls, etc., etc. So really plasma is just a descriptive noun for a body of something. And in this case, we're talking about a body of, or a group or a mass of photons. Now, if you, all the photons that come from the sun carry all the information for everything in our reality. When you look at the theories around quantum physics, you'll see that they're talking about how we use our consciousness to create our reality. So how that works, because people usually want to understand the mechanics of it, is that the photons, when they slow and our conscious intent is added to that slowing process, that is the point at which we start to bring things from the energetic into the material. So what Mr. Kesh worked out was, if a plant can exist, how does it draw the information it needs from the photonic field? So he looked at a leaf, and it's amazing, really. You look at a leaf, and that is a transformation point at which everything in the invisible becomes visible, because the leaf is taking out of the photon field everything it needs to survive and grow. Yet all of that process is in perfect balance. And Mr. Kesh knew that because he used to build atomic power stations. So he was completely obsessed with balancing, making sure that little reaction at the bottom of the tube was in balance. Because if it went bonkers, then we got a problem. So that's really how he started to think about things. And then he looked to see how the leaf, what was the process inside the leaf that transformed this invisible information at that point into a visible substance. And he worked it out. I can't tell you how he worked it out or why that happened specifically, but I mean, you'll have to look at his lectures if you want to really know that in detail. But it just is. The thing about it is that once you've mastered that process, and it's not a difficult process, you are talking about a couple of metal plates and some lightweight wire and some salt water, and in that tub is deposited tiny particles. Those particles are charged from the end up as a very lightweight substance in the bottom of that. Now, why are we all doing this? It seems a bit nuts. It's the age of Aquarius to the age of enlightenment. What we are doing is understanding the combination of where we are physically with the combination of where we are invisibly, i.e. the energetic field. So this is the crossover point, and this is your invitation to start to understand where you are with the big picture of everything. So it's not a science that you can just dip in and dip out of. Once you start it, you actually start getting completely involved in it, and then your mindset changes, and then you start to look at life in a completely different way. And how do we know all this stuff works? Because lots and lots of people can feel this. I also know a few people who can actually see it, which is pretty amazing when you talk to them. But most people can start to feel this once they've lifted off, the toxins that we've taken up and have been put upon us. Then our bodies become more sensitive, and we can start to interface with these fields. And once you start doing that, and you really bring your consciousness into it, then you have then got an extra tool for yourself. So a very quick analogy is, you've been to the supermarket, you come back, someone's put a dent in your car, you drop the eggs, you get home, the dog's barking, the kids are screaming. And you're going nuts. So you call your friend, they come over, they babysit, and dogs walking through the forest. By the time you get out of the other, better, because all of the plants are in balance. They've worked out, they have the mechanism to stay in balance. Otherwise, we'd be completely overrun. But all the elements that they're using from the quantum field are self-balancing. They're continuously looking for balance. So as you walk through that forest, your quantum self is interfacing with everything around, and you are automatically rebalancing. If you then sit down and do some meditation in the forest, you can actually increase that rebalancing effect. Then you get up and you walk out the other side, you come out feeling better. Everybody does. It's nature. It's totally rebalancing. Obviously, if you spend the night in the forest, you feel even better. And if you spend a couple of days or 3 days in the forest, then you feel even better. So the point I'm trying to make is that although it's a banner of quantum physics, it's all nature at the end of the day, and it's getting back to that nature. And the more time you spend understanding that and getting your head around that, then the better you're going to be interfacing with all of these tools. And they are tools, and they are there for everybody's learning. So don't treat them as something that's going to fix you, because the whole point of this is to self-empower people so that they can understand that they actually have the power themselves to fix themselves. That's the point. It's not just a put that on your head, that'll fix your brain tumor type of thing, because you're not learning anything then. So what well, actually, it was Katrina who came up with the first tool that we have, which is a loop, and these are basically just two pieces of material fused together, but between, and that copper has been treated with layers and layers of this. So this being an energetic broadcaster, when it sits within this, will start to broadcast on its own. You don't need a battery, you don't need to plug it in, nothing. Now, the layers of this that you put on, obviously, the more information that's in that field. And because we did a long study of biogeometry, we also came to understand that length, distance, positioning, degree and angle are all very relevant to how your environment is. So we worked out that this should be a certain length. The position between the two pieces of copper going all the way down the length of this should be a certain distance. And that once you've done that, what you've actually got here is like, if you like, a battery of information that will create a field. And from that, we then had to work out how to use it. And of course, going back to biogeometry, we found that using geometrical shapes provided different effects, different energetic effects. So a circle, if you sit in the circle, you're going to have a very relaxing effect. Although if you actually put that on the ground as a circle, you get one effect. If you actually stand it up and make it into a circle, you get a much, much stronger effect, which is quite interesting. A square will provide you with a grounding effect, and a rectangle, a similar effect. A triangle will give you a much more energetic effect. But all the time, what you're doing is allowing yourself to interface with these small pieces of copper. And the more interactions you have, the more the balancing effect will be created, which is exactly the same as you walk through the forest. The longer the forest, the more balancing you do, the more interactions with this technology you have, the more balancing you would do. Okay, I'm going to stop there because that's a lot of information to absorb.
Yeah,
So,
and I hope everyone's
just
catching
add something?
this, because my internet is definitely unstable. So we can't do much about that now. But yeah, so Kat,
No.
tell us a little bit. Add what you want
So
to
can
do.
I just
Someone understand how people can actually use these?
Yeah, so with this, obviously we're not medical doctors, you know, all this information has just come from experience of people using them. And so we actually see them as tools for consciousness expansion and for meditation. And then what happens very often from the feedback from people is that as people's systems rebalance, you know, then the symptoms do fall away of what they're happening, just because they're coming into touch with the deeper part of themselves that has the knowledge to be able to do
Sorry,
this.
Kat. Right, I might challenge Annika. I've had to move. Anyone watching this video, I will splice it together best I can, but I had to move inside because everything's gone haywire with all my electrics today. So we all know what's causing that. And I didn't want to miss Kat's amazing explanation of the loop. So, Kat, can we take you back and just explain a little bit more about people, about how they can use these?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just saying to Malcolm, I think we found the downfall in doing the talk on Crystal Mountain because the energy seems to be just...
It's literally blown my sort of connector that connects all my stuff onto, you know, to plug into my computer. But hey, powerful stuff, and we're back, and I'm sure you won't mind this.
Do it in installments.
Yeah. Oh, gotta laugh.
Okay. So we just started to talk about the loop. So we were explaining how to use it when you wear it on the person, and I was just explaining that obviously we're not medical doctors, that this is just information, that all the knowledge that we've got has come through people sharing their experiences. We're all growing and learning together and trying all this out. But what appears to be happening is that as the people are rebalancing their systems using the technology, their systems are coming more into balance, and then the symptoms are falling away, because you're coming more into a deeper connection with yourself. Now, how I experience the loop, especially when you're wearing it on your body, is that it creates like a flow of energy. So most problems that we have in our systems are because the energy is cut or stuck or blocked. So the movement has gone, you know, from yourself, you know, if you break something, then it's very hard. Everything has to kind of knit back together again before the healing can really start. So then if you've got something that is creating like a constant flow of energy that is rebalancing you, then it can help to speed up the process. Lots of people are finding that this is happening, that it's easier, it's calming their systems down so that they come more easily into homeostasis. So there are pictures on the website of how to use it. Or you can just very, very simply, like you're wearing it around your neck at the moment, which is great because this obviously, the neck is like a junction between your physical body and then the higher energies up through your crown and all the rest of it. So this is a really nice place to wear it, just to keep the energy flowing between these two aspects of your energetic system. And then, like, say if I had an injury on my arm, then I could just you know, take the loop and actually wrap it all the way up my arm. And then you can just crisscross it back down again. You can fix it by, you know, putting it up here. If you're wearing a vest top, then you can hook it through the vest top so that it doesn't fall down. And then you can literally just wear it while you're working on your computer, while you're watching the television. And, you know, I found for myself when I'm menstruating, if you have issues with cramping or with everything, you know, getting trapped together, if you put this around your womb sort of area, as soon as you start menstruating for the whole of the period while you have your period, then it just keeps everything flowing. So you can you can also wear it at night. So this, again, we've just found sort of through experimenting, through feedback, through information from people who've been wearing it. But it's a very unusual tool because it looks like nothing, you know, it looks like a yoga belt. And I've actually had, you know, somebody who's a very experienced yoga professional, you know, I put it on the floor in a circle and I could see her kind of going, oh yeah, you know, and then she stood into the circle and then she almost lost her balance and fell over backwards, and she was actually really shocked. And then she had to sit down. So, you know, it's strong. You know, it's strong. It creates a large energy field that your system is going into, that then offers your system the opportunity to use that information, as Malcolm was saying, to rebalance, to see things in a different way. You may get awarenesses. It's good to set intentions if you're working on something in particular, and just to see what comes when you're in that state of meditation. And that's good to do when you're just sitting in the loop as a circle around you. This is like the general sort of go-to position for meditating and for realigning your system. And if you don't have a specific intention, then you can just ask your system to rebalance.
I love it. And, you know, people could use it around their chair when they're working. And obviously we know, I'm just going to share my screen quickly for one of our mutual friends. We know that you can actually use it with animals as well. So Helen puts it around her dog beds. And this is our lovely friend, Jackie. Now, can you see that okay? Yeah. So what Jackie's got is Jackie has been a dog breeder for 35 years. And I'm just going to read what she said about the loop with her dog, because it was just absolutely beautiful. Now, obviously, you would never wrap it around a dog and leave them unsupervised, because that could be dangerous. I'm sure people realize that. So this was under Jackie's supervision. But basically, she's had amazing experience with the loop. So one of her dogs had just had 10 pups. Wow, that's an achievement in itself. And she couldn't settle, even though she had finished. She'd given her calcium, which normally helps, but it didn't help the dog this time. And so she used the Orynoco tape that you'd given her. And then what she did is she put it round, you know, before she decided about whether to go into the vets. And within 10 minutes, she fell asleep, kept her calm, huge success. And with her stud male, it's calmed him very well with the other bitches in season. So what I love about, you know, we're all real animal lovers. And the thing is like animals, you know, they're not reading up on what the loop can do. They're not sort of studying quantum physics. So it's really good to see whether it works or not. And I absolutely love it. And I quite often sleep with mine as well, which I find really, really helps, particularly if I've been working late at night. It really sort of calms everything down. But that's not the only product you've got, is it, the loop? So the loop I love because it's accessible for everyone. You can take it with you where you go. It's so versatile. Malcolm, I can see you wanted to add something.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that actually the loop has actually got loads of other uses. For example, just take a glass jug, wrap the loop around it, fill the jug up with water, and you actually charge the water with the quality of the pieces of the copper in the loop. And then you can drink that, or you can take that, put it into a spray bottle and just spray it into your environment, into your room. Or if you want to increase the number of interactions to get your balancing more, you can use the water, sit inside the circle with the loop, and you can spray yourself with the water. All of that will increase the number of interactions in the field to improve your balancing. Interestingly, we're always learning with this stuff, because I went for a session the other day with a Bowen therapist. Yeah. She had the pods, and I'd been down to see, I hadn't seen her before. She did a kinesiology testing on my legs, and to determine which of these TSCs to use. And she found that one of my legs was longer than the other. So what she did was she got the loop, which is still in the bag. Then she got the TSC, put the TSC in the bag, put the bag on my chest as I'm laying there, and was amazed because my legs actually came back into the right length, so they were equal. And I was pretty amazed because I'd never seen anybody use it like that.
Yeah.
So, although my cousin, who is a taxi driver, he curls this up and puts it underneath his driver's seat, and he works nights. And so he comes back at the end of every night, without feeling, completely knackered and on the ball. So yeah, I mean, there's loads of uses, because whatever you can use water for, you can charge the water and put it into that. And of course, if you drink it, then what you're doing is you're also charging your whole body with it, and that helps you interface with more uses of the loops as well. And on the dog collars, we haven't put them on the market yet, but we have started making shortened versions of these for dogs. So they are on their way, but we could probably do a whole program on that.
I think we definitely will, because my dogs have got them. Helen King from First Class Therapies, who our mutual friend, has got them. Jackie has got them now for her dogs, and the feedback we're having is absolutely fantastic, because of course our dogs are so sensitive to all the energies around. It's amazing. So we will definitely do a whole separate one on that, because most of my audience are real animal lovers.
Right, great. Okay, so then we've got just at the if you like, the entry level of all of this. Then we've got these lovely pendants. Right now, you'll see in the middle of that is that copper piece, and that is the copper piece that we're talking about when you're layering it up with the transitional state elements, the TSE. And so we have a particularly talented glass blower, and he makes these. The actual process of when he fires them is pretty amazing. I've stood there and watched him. Somehow, and I don't understand fully how it works, but he is able to incorporate that into the glass. And what you do is you end up with his beautiful workmanship plus the energetics of the copper piece. And of course, if you wear that here, then obviously you've got a really nice maintenance of your thyroid and area around here, where the energy is just kept moving during the course of the day. So it's a really lovely thing to have. I mean, apart from the fact it looks, he is very clever. It does look like a little universe. It's quite amazing.
Well, I'm an iridologist, which is looking to the iris of the eye, and I do it mainly with animals. And when I saw your pendants, and I saw them in real life, because there's a lovely guy called Joe who sells your products, who's friends with Jackie White, and I saw them in person. They were beautiful, and my immediate thought when I saw them is they're like the iris of the eye, and we say the eyes are the window to the soul. Yeah. And that is sort of reminded me, gave me the same energy.
Totally. Yeah, great. Okay, so then what we also thought was, well, once we've made the TSC, as it's water, we can combine it with some really nice, there we go, some really nice cream. And so that's our Orynoco cream. So that really what this is, apart from the fact that it's really lovely to use as a moisturizer, what you're doing is you're putting the TSC onto your skin. Okay, and as we know, the skin is the biggest organ in the body. So you're again absorbing the fields of the information into your body and helping you rebalance at the same time as applying a great moisturizer in the physical to your skin. So those work really well. Particularly, we've had some great success with people with eczema.
Yeah.
It doesn't clear it straight away. You've got to give it a bit of time, but by the time you get to the halfway down the bottle, you've usually cleared up most of your eczema.
We also had one woman. She'd actually spent quite a long time in hospital, having a lot of really strong medicines and drugs and things, and she couldn't use her normal face cream. Her skin was just so sensitive and so reactive to it that she couldn't use it. And she said that the only cream that she could actually use at that time was the Orynoco cream, because it's made from very simple ingredients. So so that was another woman who reported back to us a very specific time where she could use the cream successfully, and she said it was very nourishing for her at that time.
Love that. And now let's get on to the pods, because I can't wait to talk about the pod, because I've had some experiences with that.
So we're lucky. We're very lucky because we have Thomas working with us. Thomas actually worked with Mr. Kesh for well over a year. He worked alongside him and got a complete understanding of how to work with the TSC and how to put it to work. That's the most important thing. Now the pods are tubes, and in the tube are 5 levels of TSC, each level being a little cocktail. The method of making the TSC for the pods is different from this particular TSC. So there is a particular way you make it in a tier of 5 levels. If you wanted to have a go at making it yourself, you can. It's all open source information, no secrets. What you've got to work out is, once you've made that, how are you going to use it? So that's where Thomas's genius has come into play. And we've ended up with tubes, white tubes. And if you look at the end of the tube, then you'll in fact see there is another tube inside there.
Yeah.
And that in that tube has been embedded 5 different levels of TSC. And this then fits into a clear perspex tube. And so you can have that in your lounge. And when people come around and say, "What the hell's that?" you go, "Oh, it's my new speaker stand." So that was in fact the way we came up with the design, because we'd been through several iterations of how to get the fields into the domestic environment. And I said, really, we've got to have something that looks good all the time. You can't have some clanky bit of science there. So it took about 2 years, but that was the result. Now the TSC in there is different from this TSC. There is an added element which connects you back to your origins or your soul or your higher self, whatever word you want to give it. But it takes you into a much deeper space. And that connection with your consciousness then allows your consciousness to be the driver of your experience. It's very personal. Everybody who goes in there has their own experience. You can't say, "Go and sit in that pod, this is what will happen to you," because it is coming from within you. So that was designed about just over a year ago. We put it on test with lots of people, and we knew that people had to get their heads around the technology. So we introduced therapists to the technology, and now we have a whole hosting program in the UK, which is now moving out to more international locations. And we asked the therapists to do a 20-minute free session for anybody as a taster, and then they can come back and just work with the therapist as they would normally do. But at least it's getting it out to the people. That's it, basically. They are transportable. These ones I've just brought on the plane with me, and you can set them up and you can leave them up, and they will condition not only you but the whole of your space over a period of time.
I love it. Do you have a picture that you can show on the website just whilst we're continuing to talk? So, yeah.
I mean, we found that what the therapists are doing is they're setting the pods. There's 3 of them, and they set them up around the outside of their couches, or you can set them up around the outside of a chair. And then you just sit in it for a period of time, again, setting your intention. And then you just have a session. So this gives you as Malcolm was saying, it gives you the opportunity to go into the deepest rebalancing field possible. So you can experience a really deep session with yourself. So what we're essentially doing is we're taking all the invisible fields that are around us, and then we're harnessing them into a physical 3D form so that we can use them in our physical 3D bodies to remind us that we are actually the invisible fields around us. So you're having a very deep experience with yourself. So some people, this can be very cosmic, depending on their origins. And then for other people, they just experience a sense of relaxation. Everybody has very different levels of sensitivity. And it doesn't mean that the people who are having, these very extreme experiences are gaining any more than the people who are just experiencing relaxation. When, we were on like a yoga retreat, and I met this traditional Indian guru. He was in his 60s or 70s. He'd been traveling around India his whole life, doing like yoga practices and everything. So I said, okay, cut to the chase. Like, in your experience, what is the most beneficial yoga practice of everything? Expecting him to say, like 108 sun salutations or something like this. And he said yoga nidra, which is yoga sleep. And I was really surprised. And he said the biggest problem now in the Western world is that we've forgotten how to relax. And when we relax, our bodies have the opportunity to be able to rebalance themselves. It's like the body sort of shuts off and remind itself who it is in those peace places where we are calm and still. He said the most important thing is to remain conscious. He said to follow the instructions while you're doing the yoga nidra. So that actually reminded me, I haven't actually done the yoga nidra in the pods yet, which would
I can't wait for that. I've got a friend who's a yoga nidra practitioner as well.
Yeah.
Now, I love that. I just wanted to share a couple of my experiences, and everyone's completely differently. So our mutual friend Helen King, and I will put all her links below, because for people in the UK, there'll be links below for all of this, okay? And I'll pin it in the comment about the products, get into the website, about how you find a practitioner to experience this. But when I first went into the pod at Helen's therapy centre, I didn't ask for any explanation, because I didn't want to have any preconceived ideas about what I was experiencing. And it was absolutely amazing, because I was lying down on a therapy couch with the 3 pods around me, and I got taken back to do these different past lives. It was absolutely incredible. I was having really deep conversations with one of my cats, Idris, who's actually just come in. And I had all these little bits of snippets from past lives that just were flashing with little measurements. And I had no expectations of this at all. I just went in and thought, oh, I'll give this a go. But before the interview today, Malcolm and Kat, I went back last night for another session, and this time I was sitting up in her lovely chair. I should have taken a picture, and both her dogs came to join me because they chose to be in the field. Now, this is why I was laughing at the start of the interview when you were saying about your beautiful rocks with the crystals coming through. Because again, last night, obviously I had a bit more understanding about how it works, but I just went in with whatever needs to come up. And I got a really clear message that, Rupert Sheldrake talks about the morphic field, and, other people call it the divine matrix, whatever, this all connecting field. But what I haven't heard anyone, and that's probably just because I haven't researched it, talk about is how the morphic field works below ground. So there's a lot of evidence now in terms of the rhizomes of the trees and the plants and how they all connect and share information and nutrients. But the message I got last night, which ties into your crystals in the rocks, was actually the morphic field below ground is even more powerful than the morphic field or the divine matrix, the connecting field above ground, and that this is a completely sort of discovered way that we can all, so we all know the benefits of grounding, but this was really pulling that information together for me. And I was only in there for half an hour, and a completely different level of awareness about how, why when we ground, why when we hug trees, why when we connect with nature, why we do no dig gardening, why we do the Zach Bush stuff of clearing up the microbiome in the soil, why this is so relevant, because there's such an energetic field stored below ground that when most humans are not connecting into, and how powerful that is. So that was the message that came through to me last night.
No, that's great. On the front page of our website, right at the bottom, is a little video that I did on I was trying to explain what happens with the photons when they leave the sun and move towards the Earth. And in that, I described the Earth as being a gravitational field and the sun being magnetic. Out here, everything's in space, i.e. there's lots of space between it. As it goes towards the Earth, everything gets compressed because of gravity. And that's exactly what you've described. The intensity of everything just increases. So grounding and everything, the further you get into the Earth, what's happening is well, I can't say what's happening for definite because I haven't got the right machine to measure it, because everybody wants everything measured. But as I understand it, the photonic field is being more and more compressed. So you've got more information in that field. So that makes absolutely perfect sense. That's
Isn't
fantastic.
it amazing? And I was just like, I wasn't asking for any of this information, but it came, and it was like these big downloads, and hence the fact that I was so laid back, because I had to go and then tell Helen about it. It was just incredible, and it was really exciting. So I'm really keen to speak to Rupert Sheldrake now and sort of discuss this with him. There's this whole we know the plants. There's people that have been studying the plants, the fungi and everything, and how they communicate, and how when one sends a distress center, they'll send nutrients through. But this is just the tip of the iceberg about what I think this untapped area to discover, and why, in this beautiful sort of great awakening, so many people are getting back more into growing their own food, connecting with the earth, all the things that we used to do and we've lost touch with, that can be so healing. So I just thought it just fitted in so perfectly with how you were describing how this idea came to you on your crystal rocks.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the focus, in the spiritual community as well, has been very much to do with expanding out, and which is absolutely amazing and incredible. But in that, you can lose your grounding, and that is so important in life. And the thing with the pods is, because it has all the information for our whole journey, from source to the physical body to even the void, even that space that we can sometimes go into where it feels like nothing exists, where you're just in that deep blissful silence of where all creation stems from. And so when we are in the pods, then it does access the field in its entirety. And I think the more that we learn about grounding, which is actually sort of quite a new science, because in the olden days, when we were all tribal, running around with bare feet, it was just part and parcel of our daily lives. We had this strong connection to the earth because our feet were always swapping this information with it. But now with daily lives, with our shoes and everything, we don't have the same connection, and we're learning the value of how important it is. There's beautiful films that have been made, about grounding, and some children are actually being given, 2-hour barefoot sessions in the garden as a medicine to help systems to rebalance. We're learning about bare feet shoes, and all these kinds of new amazing technologies which are meaning that we are grounded. So that's fantastic. It's another new world, that and water, what we're learning now. water
so
is
obsessed with water.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. And these are just such amazing things that we're now coming to learn about the importance and just how amazing water is and the earth is and our connection to it is, because we've lost that in modern life to some
I
extent.
love it. I'm going to have to get you two back if we can, and hopefully in an uninterrupted interview this time. I'll do my best with my editing. But so I want to make sure we finish off with people knowing. So I will put a link in the pinned comments and obviously all the details below. So with the bands, do you ship worldwide to the bands?
Yeah, everything. We ship everything.
Everything worldwide. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And in the links below, you'll see links to the therapists that have got these pods that you can try. So anyone can experience the bands, the pendants, the creams, the TSEs that you can sort of get.
Yeah.
No, I mean the therapists they've all got the pods.
Yeah.
Some of them have got the loops. Some of them
Yeah.
have got. So you, but the thing is with the pods, you are experiencing the TSC and the pods and the fields. Not all of them have got the cream, and not all of them have got the pendants. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of pop luck there. But you'll certainly have a good 20-minute session with them. Yeah.
And if people are in an area where there isn't actually a host or a therapist, there are people who are offering remote sessions. And this is also very powerful. So you can also experience it remotely with a therapist who will then send the potential of the field to you. So you can still experience a session from a remote location.
And actually that is the key to your learning, because once you've got to the point at which you've experienced the pods, you should be able to tune in with the pods, leave that location, go to another location, and you can then connect back to those pods with your consciousness. That's the whole point of these tools. They're teaching you that when you really enter into your consciousness, you can be everywhere all at the same time. It's a bit like the EE network, isn't it? Everything everywhere.
Yeah,
which I laughed at. Yeah.
And that's
hang on. So basically, we're actually the worst business model, because when everybody learns to use our tools properly, they don't need our tools. So actually, as you know, we can just sell what we've made, and hopefully that'll do for all the millions of people around the planet. But obviously it won't. But you can work with these, and you can work with these in groups of people, and you can work also with photographs. If you want to put a photograph in the pod, this will also connect to a person or an animal or a horse or whatever you want, and put them in the energy field. It's not as powerful, but you can certainly do that.
I love it. And I think with all the practitioners that you're really working with who are so open, we're just learning more, as you said. And I would really, really encourage everyone to experience this. And as I said, I'm going to do a big shout out to, I'll put Helen's details for First Class Therapies, because she's just about to put some more remote sessions. You can come if you're in the UK, experience it personally. You can look at the other therapists that have got these and offer and go and support them. But also these remote sessions, reach out, because they do offer those, even if they're not on the website, a lot of them.
Yeah. And just before we finish, can I just do a 2-minute integration?
I'd love you to. Thank you so much.
Okay, so everybody, just once again, just closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in and deep breath out. And just for a moment, coming back to yourself. There's been a lot of excitement, a lot of information. The energy has been running really, really high. So we just take a moment once again to ground ourselves. So just feeling your energy going down deep into the earth. Just re-establishing that connection. Then allowing your energy to come up through your body, through your spine, your neck, your head. Out, expanding out through the top of your head to the sun, to the stars, just feeling that connection again. Then bringing this down into the heart, down through the top of your head, your neck, allowing this energy to become mixing and mingling with the energies of the earth in your heart, as we acknowledge that we are conduits of energy, that our bodies are constantly learning, transforming, and everything is being processed through the heart. Just allowing all the energies from this call to integrate, raising our physical and auric vibrations so that we may become more aware of who we truly are. For that we truly are, we always will be. We always have this space inside of us of love, of silence, of calm, of joy. Through your breath, you can access this anytime. Anytime when you're feeling stressed, you're running around, just take a moment to connect to the earth, to connect to the sun, to connect to your heart, and just breathe. Allow your system to rebalance in and of itself. Ready for the next step. Thank you all for being with us on this call. Thank you, Catherine, for holding this space and allowing us to share what we're doing. All of our work comes from our hearts. We're doing this for love. And we wish you all to take this love away from you after this call. Thank you, everybody. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes.
That was beautiful, Kat. Thank you so much. I've absolutely loved this. For all the listeners, thank you for bearing with us through all my technical high energy challenges. Hasn't happened before, but thank you for your understanding, everyone. Kat and Malcolm, you are absolutely amazing. The more I get to know you, the more I'd love you both even more. I just think it's so exciting for everyone across the globe that these solutions exist. You know, something like this, the whole family can share. It's really affordable, and it's just these tools. I completely agree with what you said to Malcolm, that yes, the idea is that we don't need any of these, but me personally, I'm still in a stage where these tools really help me sort of reconnect with those parts of myself and that intuition and everything. So sometimes in a fast-paced world, having extra tools and support to help you get to where you want to do can just be an absolute game changer. And certainly the therapists that you're connecting in with, they're all absolutely amazing and have their own unique talents and everything as well. So I hope everyone has loved this. They'll have all the details for how you can connect with Malcolm and Kat, their products, their technologies, and let us know in the comments below what you'd like to hear more of. We will definitely be back talking about the dog collars, because I know there's a lot of animal lovers out there that will want to see those.
And just to remind everybody, it's Orynoco with a Y.
Oh, yes.
With a Y. So if you want to find us, that's how you find us. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone who's watched this. I really hope you've got as much out of it as we have. And I'm really excited to hear all your experiences. I really am. And thank you, Malcolm and Kat. We'll be back soon.
Thank you, Catherine. That's great.
Catherine.
See you soon.
Okay.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. My goal is to inspire as many people as I can to live their best lives, to stay curious and to raise their consciousness and that of the collective. So to do this, I need to reach as many people as possible, and this needs your help. If you feel drawn, would you be willing to share your favourite episode with 5 different people? This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. If you feel drawn to do that, I will be very, very grateful. All the links and discount codes where applicable for all the products that I support are on my 2 websites, catherineedwards.life and catherineedwardsacademy.com. All of the products are personally tried and tested by me, my family, and my clients. And finally, please do press the follow or subscribe button, depending which platform you're listening on. And above all, stay curious and stay free.